Donald Trump had a very difficult night at the debate, and it didn't take long for it to start going south for him. So in this first clip, you're going to see him immediately being called out as a potential sexist on social media.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
No, it wasn't. For the record, it was well beyond Rosie O'Donnell.
Yes, I'm sure it was.
Your Twitter account has several disparaging comments about women's looks. You once told a contestant on Celebrity Apprentice it would be a pretty picture to see her on her knees. Does that sound to you like the temperament of a man we should elect as president? And how will you answer the charge from Hillary Clinton, who is likely to be the Democratic nominee, that you are part of the war on women?
I think the big problem this country has is being politically correct. I've been challenged by so many people, and I don't frankly have time for total political correctness. And to be honest with you, this country doesn't have time either. And honestly, Megyn, if you don't like it, I'm sorry. I've been very nice to you, although I could probably maybe not be based on the way you have treated me, but I wouldn't do that. But you know what?
It's Christopher Walken up there.
You know what?
It's ridiculous.
I mean, it's a great show. It is a great show, what he's doing. Mm-hmm. I think it's a great show.
Yeah.
And I think he actually won that question from Megyn Kelly.
So do I.
I think he won it in the room. I think you heard women cheering for him there.
Women cheering.
And so, can we go at it now? I just want to say what Megyn Kelly's doing there is she got her orders from Roger Ailes. They're not questioning them on their ideas. They're questioning them on their purity of being a Republican.
Yes.
So that's really what's happening there. They're not there to they're there to say, hey, you strayed from the script of being a Republican. That's the only questions, the hard questions that was asked of anybody. And that was them coming after Trump on that.
Look, they started it right off the bat. First question, knowing what they were going to get. Will all of you swear to support the nominee no matter who he is? Trump didn't go after. Trump raised his hand as the only one who wouldn't necessarily make that pledge. They knew that from the start. By far, the hardest questions were directed at two candidates. They were directed at Donald Trump, overwhelmingly the most challenging questions, also at Rand Paul. Two people who they don't have any interest in getting the nomination.
Yes.
Don't for a second look. Sean Hannity throws red meat to the Tea Party every now and then. Sean Hannity is a simple, silly man who appeals to the lowest instincts that we have in America. But that channel, Fox News channel, that is an establishment channel. That is not the channel of the Tea Party. That is the channel of Wall Street. That is the channel that is established as they get, and what they want out of there as quickly as possible is Donald Trump out. They're not that worried about Rand Paul, but if he were there, they would have gone after Rand Paul hard. They want him out. That was very clear to me. Everybody else got questions that were, I guess they could, on some level, manifest themselves as debate questions, but they enabled the candidate to talk about whatever they want.
List good numbers that support your candidacy.
Right, and that's right. And then also, bear in mind that, again, 24 million people watched, but still people aren't paying attention to the politics part of this. And John Kasich said something really interesting. He's like, hey, look, ignore Donald Trump at your own peril. He's appealing to something, and he even talked about the wall. But what also Donald Trump is appealing to is that core constituency that Fox has of people who feel like things are slipping away, that they don't have control over the things that they used to have, that they're losing, that, black people are coming to take their wives and their job, Mexicans are coming to take their job. Gays, certainly, no question. And also this sense that also for people who aren't paying attention, that they hate political correctness.
Yeah.
That they hate it. And when he goes out and challenges her in that effective Trump way, when she questions him on it, and he's like, oh, what are you talking about this? So I told a girl that she'd look good on her knees. What are we talking about, Megyn? Come on. I think unquestionably some people are like, yes.
And Ben, by the way, who taught them to hate political correctness? It was Fox News, incling Megyn Kelly. They've been training them. Oh, look at what these universities are doing. Every word, you can't say any words anymore.
They think that they're like, these people won't even let me say Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And now it's biting them in the ass.
So, it seemed like they're playing, Donald Trump, it's like, no, I'm the monster you guys created. This is what you guys have always been upset about, is that people are politically correct. And everybody who cheered there and every person who votes in the Republican primary has called women those same things.
Yes.
That's where they're like, I've said that shit. I wouldn't want to lose my job over it. Yeah. I'd call Rosie O'Donnell a fat whatever. I'm sure.
Yeah, I love that you called him the monster that they created. Yeah, and they've been saying for 20 years now, the richest people are the best people. And he's showing them, maybe not always.
And they're trying to take him down from the left right there.
Yeah.
So that's the weirdest way to take him down. It's like they're going, hey, you're not, like, as if this was a Democratic debate. That's again a winner. That's a winning question.
You'd ask Biden that question or something.
He won that question, and Megyn Kelly looked like she looked like Sandra Fluke.
Yeah.
Let's
go to the next video, actually. Why don't we?
Yeah, because they also challenged him, and I think Trump did less well here. They also challenged him on immigration and that very peculiar claim that he made that Mexico is sending.
Yeah.
Mexico is sending people over here. And here is Trump's, this is video 12. This is Trump's peculiar reply to that question.
Border Patrol people that I deal with, that I talk to, they say this is what's happening because our leaders are stupid, our politicians are stupid, and the Mexican government is much smarter, much sharper, much more cunning, and they send the bad ones over because they don't want to pay for them, they don't want to take care of them. Why should they when the stupid leaders of the United States will do it for them? And that's what's happening, whether you like it or not.
So look, he was given the tough questions. He was, as you say, he was targeted in a way that many of the other candidates weren't. But in those answers, at least, I think that he defended himself pretty well. Not in some of the later questions, but in those. But he wasn't as, I guess, he wasn't as well spoken in his responses once he left the hall. Once the debate was over, he started sending out a stream of tweets. There's a lot of different types. The first we're going to show you is him attacking Megyn Kelly, either through his direct words or through retweets. So he said, I'm getting a lot of Megyn Kelly hate mail tonight. She is totally overrated and angry. She really bombed tonight. Let's see. Fox viewers give low marks to bimbo Megyn Kelly. We'll consider other programs. That is a retweet there. A bimbo. He's being interviewed by Megyn Kelly tonight. He retweeted that today. Let's see. The biggest loser in the debate was Megyn Kelly. You can't out-Trump Donald Trump. You will lose. Again, retweeting there. Not really a retweeting. I would like to point out that he is a douchebag. So he is, quote, retweeting. He won't even give him real credit for the tweet. I really enjoyed the debate tonight, even though the Fox News trio, especially Megyn Kelly, was not very good or professional. They can't do anything right. Let's see. And then, wow, Megyn Kelly really bombed tonight. People are going wild on Twitter. Funny to watch. So he said she bombed multiple times. This is, can you be less presidential? I know that we use the term too much, I think, and we expect too much out of people in terms of being polite and dignified and all that. But he's like a child.
He is. He's like a
child.
And
that's what they wanted.
He calls people stupid. He says they bombed. He says
you're a loser.
You're a clown. You're a buffoon.
Not a slob. Look at this guy's a slob.
That's what we're going to get into. Slob. He calls Frank Luntz.
Exactly. Yeah. So why don't we go to that? Because what we've been sort of getting at, and what Jimmy articulated very well, is that they are using these sorts of attacks against him in a way that they're not using it on others because they want to sink his presidency, or his chances, I should say. And one of the ways that they did that was through this focus group. Let's watch.
Megyn, we're about to make some news tonight. I want you to watch how they voted. When you walked in here, how many of you had a positive opinion of Donald Trump? Raise your hand. Overall. How many of you have a positive opinion of him now? Who is negative towards Trump when you walked in here? Who's negative now? What happened? You were a Trump supporter when you walked in.
Yes, Frank. You know what happened? I liked him when I came in here because he wasn't the politician. But right now, he skirted around questions better than a lifelong politician ever had.
Anthony, what was your reaction to Trump?
I was really expecting him to do a lot better, but he just crashed and burned. He was mean. He was angry. He had no specifics. He was bombastic.
Eli, you walked in, you're a Trump supporter. What happened?
You know, he just let me down. I just expected him to rise to the occasion and look presidential. He didn't.
I think that Trump did poorly overall in the debates, but that is certainly not what every conservative in the country thinks. But they couldn't find one person who had a better opinion of him, or even a stable opinion of him in that focus group. That seems questionable.
You know what? I'll go ahead and say that. You know, it was bad that Karl Rove came out in front of the debates to try to kneecap Donald Trump. It's just the worst establishment figure to do that, right? The people who like Trump already hate Karl Rove. Mm-hmm. And then to see this, it seems like a hit job.
Yeah.
It really does.
Well, that's what Luntz does.
Because his poll numbers, I'm sure, are still the same today, right?
Well, I mean, we won't know for a couple of days.
But also, it's interesting to see that the most conservative media tried to make it look like Trump lost, but other mainstream media said that Trump won.
Yeah.
I think, to me, it looked like they didn't lay a glove on Trump. Honest to God, I don't see how.
Well, you know who disagrees, though? Is Donald Trump. He feels targeted. In fact, he sent out some more tweets, this time at Frank Luntz, saying, "Your so-called focus groups are a total joke. Don't come to my office looking for business again. You are a clown." Frank Luntz is a low-class slob that might be true, who came to my office looking for consulting work, and I had zero interest. Now he picks anti-Trump panels. And Frank Luntz, I won every poll of the debate tonight by massive margins on the Drudge Report, apparently. So where did you find that dumb panel?
So he won on Time Magazine, too?
An online poll, perhaps he did. I don't know for sure.
He won big on the Drudge poll. Yeah, so
which is representative of the entire country, I'm sure.
I don't think that Trump. I think that I would still make my bet with Cenk that 3 months from now he'll not be in the top three. That he will have worked himself out of contention here.
They're coming at him.
I agree.
But that said, the notion that somehow he did grave damage to, I think that he might poll worse against Hillary Clinton head-to-head after his performance last night. But did he hurt himself in this standing with this crowd?
Not at all.
They went after him, and he acted like Donald Trump, which is exactly what got him here, which is what Chris Christie and Rand Paul, guys who both, that's the people Trump is hurting most, I think, rather than Jeb Bush, who I think is underperforming all by himself without Trump's assistance.
Yeah.
Chris Christie and Rand Paul were the guys who were going to be bullies, be different, talk differently, and he has completely seized that mantle from him. And they both tried at a couple of times to be that guy, the biggest moment coming in a fight among themselves.
Or possibly in the first couple of minutes when Rand Paul attacked Trump himself.
And that just felt incredibly rehearsed.
Oh, totally, yes. He was waiting for an
desperate.
opportunity.
He looked like such a small man, Rand Paul, when he was coming after. And all the time I'm going to go, having a tough time tonight. It was just like, boom, you're just not.
I don't even like that as a burn, but it worked because Rand Paul had put himself in the position. I think you're totally right, by the way, especially Christie. Christie has nothing when Trump is on the stage with him.
Nothing.
That's right.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that way. You're 100% right.
Somebody should call, if Rand Paul's around for further debates, Trump should call him Randy.
Ha!
You're having a tough time tonight there, Randy.
Yeah, there, Randy.
Did he earn that name? I'm not sure. Not like Jeb.